So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at A Most Fearful Sacrifice, 3 Days of Gettysburg from Flying Pig Games. This is a game that's designed by Herman Luttman, and if you don't know, Herman Luttman's done a very large array of Civil War games and a couple Gettysburg games, but I believe, it is my understanding, that this is his only Gettysburg game that covers all 3 days of it. So, also, I don't have tiny hands, this box is huge. So, welcome to the biggest, heaviest box of the year, I think. So, this is a big 2-player game, massive mounted Rick Barber maps, the production value that you would expect from Flying Pig Games. To play the whole thing start to finish can take you a long time, but there's a number of different scenarios in it, and apparently some of the larger ones can hold up to 4 if you want to do team play, things like that. But we will crack this open. I cannot express to you how heavy this is. There's a lot in there. So, let us open it up. Okay. So first things that we got here, counters, cards, and some dice. So the dice here are sealed for freshness. We've got 3 different colors, all D6s, black, red, and white. We have a couple of decks of cards. Looks like they might be all the same type of card based on the backings, but we'll have a look at those here in just a second. Okay, we have the very large rules section and the counters. So let's take a look at what we got here. So this is just a little, like a slip bag, basically. And there's a nice ode here, or a little dedication to Rick Barber, who unfortunately passed away, but he's been doing wargame apps for longer than I know. And, you know, this is one of his last productions. I don't think it was the last, it was one of the last, and it's beautiful, so it was very touching for them to have put that in there. So we've got 2 big books here. One's a scenario book, in which is, you may have guessed, the different scenarios, and they're played on different sections of the extremely large boards that you get in this. So, big scenario rulebook, and you know, it goes from like scenarios literally this big to the whole table. So, you can do kind of whatever you want with this. The actual rulebook itself, which uses what's referred to as the Black Swan system. I think that first showed up in the Devils to Pay, which is a small format boxed game from Tiny Battle Publishing that's also by Herman Luttman. So, anyway, this rulebook, full color, 2-column, rules. Seems to have a good chunk of examples in it and looks to be fairly legible. So that's an example of play, victory determination. So actual rules, 24 pages, 24 pages, that's not terrible. So we'll be diving into this and giving it a go, for sure. So then we have our various different play aids and setup guides. So this is the scenario setup guide. So there's 13 scenarios, it looks like, maybe, based on that. And then it's your OOBs here, and this also has a turn track on it. So I guess you set it up, flip it over, boom, that's what you're going to use as your little turn track off the board, I guess. Here we have some play aids. And so we have our combat events tables and the different effects based on who the event is happening to, basically. Close fight results table. Over here we have looks like a very large dice-based CRT. This is, I don't know if that's shown up. This is regular American letter size, and that's quite a fine, small font. So some of you might want your readers on for this. Just a word of warning, I suppose. That's kind of the same for this as well. But we've got ourselves a nice detailed, if very small sequence of play. And then on the back we have our big terrain effects chart and a terrain key as well. Everything else here are our command displays. So this is the Union command display. And so this is Cedric's Sedgwick's 6th Corps, Slocum's 12th Corps, and then we've got Reynolds, Hancock, Sykes, and Sickles as well. So we've got 2 for the Union, and just the 1 for the Confederates here. So we've got Longstreet, A.P. Hill, and Ewell's. So these are also going to have to go alongside the board as well. So this is going to be a big space hog of a game. So now we're going to get to the counters, and the counters here are just beautiful, by the way. So there's 5 counter sheets. Most of them are these large pre-rounded counters that we've come to expect from Flying Pig games. They knock it out of the park every single time. There is this one counter sheet that has smaller administrative counters on it typically, and those are not pre-rounded. Those will they're like falling off the sprues. But if you want to round them, you're going to have to round them. This is very thick grey core, so you're going to need one of those deluxe corner rounders. That's probably not going to fit in your regular one. But there is a small sheet of non-pre-rounded ones. Good gracious, those are just falling out everywhere. However, let's look at these nice units. This is what's going to be arrayed on the board. And that is like hand-drawn, I know it's not hand-drawn, but has the effect of being hand-drawn units on back and front. And again, these are pre-rounded. They punch very simply and easily. No nubs on them or anything. Those are going to be gorgeous and a great accompaniment to the look and feel of the game. Here's a look at some of the Confederate units. And again, you know, you've got this kind of olive drab color for the Confederate units and the blue for the Union units. Those are also, they contrast well enough and they're going to show up nicely on the board. I feel like sometimes the gray units of the Confederates sometimes get lost on some maps. There's a lot of units in here. And genuinely, outside of those cards, which again we'll take a look at, the rest of this are these, there's 2 of them, absolutely monster boards. Oh, okay. So we'll start with this one. So Most Fearful Sacrifice. And there is a turn track down here. Okay, so that's something. So maybe we don't have to use that one on the card. Okay. This board, this is huge. Okay. So this is the southern board. And genuinely, oh, we've got that caught there. Genuinely, this alone takes up almost my whole table. This is huge. Does it have the dimensions on the back, just for everyone's ease of reference? Yes. These are 31 inches by 40 inches. So, can I turn it this way? No. It does not fit on my table where I could do a map here and here. So we're going to be doing a one-mapper purely from a space standpoint. But you can't deny that that is not a gorgeous, huge board. But yeah, hopefully you've got a table big enough to play the whole thing. And this is the northern board, which actually has Gettysburg proper on it. There we go. If I could... Okay. Oh. Okay. And again, it's nice that they've made this huge map as kind of a real great kind of lasting testament to Rick as well, this massive thing. So Cemetery Hill down here, Gettysburg proper up here, and that southern map is going to go down there, and it's just double the size. This thing is absolutely massive, but it is... I actually enjoy that it's, because it's larger, these hexes are larger to accommodate these, you know, larger than average counters, is at least what I would say. But as such, everything's slightly bigger and slightly clearer and cleaner as well. So, you know, the little writing everywhere, the hex numbers and things, all things considered, fairly easy to assess what's what. So, that's... all the two maps. I physically can't fit them on the table. So the last thing we'll take a look at here are our two little packs of cards. And again, I believe that these are the same. Let's see. How have the cards defeated me this turn? Ah, here we go. Nice. Ooh, those are linen finished, which is very, very nice. We appreciate that. Okay. So these do all have the same backing to them, that I can tell. So that is something of an indication that these are all on the same deck. That might not be the case, but it looks like it is. And a lot of these are different divisional activations. So you're going to pull a card and activate that particular unit, or that formation, that division, I suppose. And then depending on how many orders, that's what you can give out, it looks like. And then there's some kind of more, not random, but there's other different events or things that can happen to them. But yeah, these are, let me hold these up so you can see. If we can catch the light, these are linen finished. So they're very, very nice. Everything's clear on them. Got historical pictures on the ones that require them. The ones that are just divisional activations, much more informational, but there's different color coding around them as well, which I presume corresponds to the types of activations that you're getting off of them as well. And there is a lot of these, so that's all the cards. And there's a bunch of them. But this game is, they said it would be big, and it did not disappoint. It is massive. So I gotta fit this back in the box now. We physically don't have the space to play the whole thing. So what we will probably do is that we will probably play one of the smaller scenarios on one of the maps. Again, I've been saying this for ages now, we're in the process of getting a bigger table where we would be able to play the whole thing, and at some point, yeah, it might be grand to do that with. But anyway, A Most Fearful Sacrifice, The 3 Days of Gettysburg from Flying Pig Games. Check this out if this is something you're interested in, but appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.